Man, oh man. So I saw that Canelo versus uh, Terence Crawford fight. Whoo! And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna make it seem like I'm some boxing aficionado. I really only gotten really back into it, like literally maybe 5 years ago, because I used to get so depressed with boxing and be like, man, nobody ever fights anybody. It's all delayed. And then when they do fight, it's about 5 to 10 years too late. And I'm like, yeah, I'm over it. But my homeboy Achilles, he's been saying, no, there's some good boxers out, and he told me about Bud about 5 years ago, and I was like, let me see who he is. Let me see, and I've been watching him since for 5 years, and dude is a straight mastermind in that ring. It's something to watch, and I'm not gonna lie, when I found out he was finally gonna fight Canelo, I was like, it might be a mistake because to put that much weight on for the first time ever against an opponent like Canelo, I was like, ooh. Especially with his last fight against a Russian where he wasn't as dominant, and it really showed me that weight does matter. So I'm thinking to myself, man, it's gonna be a good ass fight. And then when I finally saw them in the ring together, I was like, man, Canelo looks solid as hell. I wouldn't want to fight that dude. Like that dude's he looked like a straight monster. And I also looked at Bud, and he looked good for the weight that he put on. There wasn't like a huge diminishing. His speed wasn't really diminished. Uh, he seemed to have power. Defense was elite, and it was a great fight. It was a great fight, and the one thing I always admire about Bud is he always makes adjustments all throughout the fight. And the one thing he did was he didn't allow Canelo to get in rhythm. Like Canelo was only able to tag him maybe once or twice, but he was never able to set up combos. So he never really got a rhythm of tagging Terence Crawford. And I was like, that was impressive because he changed his approach all throughout the 12 rounds. And I got to give Canelo credit because in my mind, I didn't know this dude had 63 victories. I'm like, this man's been fighting this much? Like, Jesus. And I got to give him credit because if I was Canelo, I'd be sitting here making Modelo commercials. I wouldn't be thinking about trying to fight no damn Terence Crawford. What? What? Especially after how he dismantled Errol Spence, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. Let me just make these commercials. I'm not trying to get hit like that. But I respect him. He had the heart of a warrior. And the one thing about Canelo, he was dangerous that entire fight. And I got nervous toward the end of the fight where he was like, where I thought maybe Terence Crawford got a little too greedy. I'm like, don't stay away from him, man. You got him beat on points. Because the way Canelo was loading up throughout the entire fight, I'm like, it was just one punch away from changing that whole complexion of the fight. So I was like, hey, Bud, stay away. Please, please don't get knocked out. Because every time this dude was throwing a punch, I was like, there's no variation in speed. It was just like knocking you out, knocking you out, knocking you out. Like all power punches. And I'm impressed. Like he had that stamina to do that for 12 rounds. I'm like, you not tired, bro? But it was a great fight, and it was one where I was on the edge of my seat because at any moment the fight could have changed. And when you're in close quarters with somebody like Canelo, whoo, it was great. I was really impressed. And then here's another thing why I really get frustrated with boxing because, you know, as great as Floyd Mayweather was, and he was great. I really feel like he destroyed the real perception of boxing because after Mayweather, everyone got fascinated with being undefeated, and that validates your whole career. I'm like, bro, no, that's the whole thing about competition. You roll the dice, either you win or you lose, but at least you tried. That's why I loved about, in my mind, the golden era when Marvin Hagler, he fought everybody. Duran fought everybody. Uh, Sugar Ray fought everybody. Who else? Um, just people in that generation, they all fought everybody. I'm like, okay, if they lost, they lost. If they won, they won. You know, it was a great spectacle. You know, and so I find a lot of people just dodging and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to maintain my record. No, let's see how great you really are. Because I personally thought that Mayweather fought Pacquiao at least 7 years too late. Like, that should have happened. That fight should have happened way earlier. But it is what it is. So I respect Canelo for saying, you know what, let me see. Because he really had nothing really to gain by fighting Bud. You know, I don't think his legacy was really tarnished by if he won or lost. You know, I don't think it would have greatly elevated his legacy if he had won. With Bud, I thought the same thing too, but a lot of people validated him saying after he won this match, like now he's one of the GOATs. I'm like, before this fight, I thought he was one of the GOATs, but I get the logic. But I respect that they fought. They said, hey, let's work out the money. Let's get this down. Let's fight. Let's not dodge. Let's not wait until we're in our 40s trying to have this fight. And that's what I respect, because even though Canelo lost, I didn't think he got smoked in that fight. I don't think he's a trash fighter. I still think he's great. I still think Bud's a great fighter. Even if he had lost, great fighter. And I'm hoping this starts a trend for the next generation of fighters where he's like, hey, we don't have to dodge. We fight, we lose, we win. Either way, it just makes our story that much more compelling, because nobody wants to go out for somebody who always cheers for somebody who always wins. You want to go, how does that person respond to adversity? How does that person respond to a loss? Because eventually you're gonna lose. If you fight long enough, you're gonna lose. So how do you come back from that? That makes a compelling story. That makes a compelling athlete. You don't always have to chase the perfection. That's just my thoughts, though. That's just my thoughts.